This is not a official Rookie Hunter episode. This is just a little teaser of a project that I've sort of hinted at a few times in recent episodes. Very honored that One Campfire asked me to produce, engineer, and host a brand new podcast called Faces of Wildlife. So this is a type of project I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's a episodic series. It's sort of like a docu-series, something a lot different than what I do with Rookie Hunter, and something very different in the outdoor podcast landscape. And I'm quite proud of it. So the prologue to the series is now live on iTunes. You just have to search for Faces of Wildlife. I'd like to direct you to One Campfire's website, onecampfire.com. That's the number one. If you go to the Listen tab, all the episodes will show up there as well. But as you guys know, ratings and reviews in iTunes help a lot. So as the series comes out, if you like it, please leave a rating and review. Hopefully get it some more exposure. It's not a hunting podcast. It's basically about wildlife conservation, and the people leading initiatives to keep wildlife on our landscape. As I said, I'm very honored to have been asked to do this. The first official episode will go up next Tuesday. That's a week from now. And it's about mule deer. So hope you guys enjoy the series. Look forward to hearing your feedback. And if you enjoy it, share it with your non-hunting friends who are curious about, all the things that hunters do for wildlife conservation. That's the main goal of this podcast, is just to help educate people. Let them know what we're up to. Let them know what wildlife is up against and what we can do to keep them on our landscape. So I hope you guys enjoy this. This is the prologue to Faces of Wildlife.
I've been fortunate enough to move over 100 sheep in the province. So like I said, it's kind of a, not maybe a legacy, but it's something you hope future generations are going to get to experience and have the benefits of something by one person's actions or a group of people's actions, that they'll have the benefit for, hundreds, 200, 300 years, who knows, right? But at least you think you've made a contribution to that. I mean, just sitting here looking at the landscape, it puts it in perspective. It puts life in perspective for you.
This series is about wildlife and wildlife conservation. We start season 1 in my home province of British Columbia. I've always felt like BC was special, and it is. It's the wildlife and wild places that make it unique, and they are the reason why so many people flock here from all over the world. For most of my life, I've been under the impression that our wildlife populations are healthy and well managed. I never really had any reason to question this assumption, but as I spent more and more time outdoors, some questions started to linger for me. And when I dug a little deeper, the answers to these questions were pretty eye-opening. I started to realize that many of the iconic species and wild places you see on our postcards and in our tourism videos are at risk. The reasons for the declines and threats to wildlife are complicated, but in most cases, the trail leads back to you and me. Luckily, there is still time to effect change. In season 1 of this series, I'm hitting the road to explore the issues that are threatening our beloved wildlife and to meet the people spearheading initiatives to keep them on our landscape. They are the Faces of Wildlife. My name is Mike Peterson, and I'll be your host.
Last week we just got this report from the UN about the decline of 1 million species, right? And in that conversation, if you listen to what people are saying on the radio, they're often talking about species at risk. And a lot of those species, or some number of them, were at one point not endangered or not threatened.
Everybody has an impact. It's a given. For something to live on this world, something has to die. There's no way any person can say that they have not caused an impact on something, somehow, somewhere.
mean, you can talk about, wildlife as a barometer of ecosystem health, and the fact that we all need healthy air and water and sustainable watersheds, et cetera, and that wildlife are a barometer for that. You can talk about it in those terms, and those terms are true, absolutely.
There's a famous quote by Glenward in 1926 who said, "Thicker and thicker they came until the whole pass was a mass of moving mulgrave forms from which a forest of branched antlers sprouted, clashing and clicking together as they pressed onward. For 2 hours and a half we watched them passing us. It was impossible to count them, we can only guess at their hundreds." And that was in Wells Gray Provincial Park. So there must have been thousands and thousands in the 1920s, and now we have about 400.
This was always said to me by my mother. You gotta be a good listener to be a good learner. To be a good learner, you gotta be a good listener. And it's an analogy that's in here. And if you're not listening, you're not gonna learn nothing.